I'ma do it some nights. So what my eyes, that moment I visualize is coming. If you could see me now, see I'm gonna break through the life I knew. Been waiting, the dream come true. Still aiming. If you could see me now, if you could see me now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As what has kind of started happening on Fridays, this Friday has now become our hobby day, swapping between talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And talking about OverDress. We did a Yu-Gi-Oh! Video last week, so this week we're going to talk about some OverDress, and we got a lot of information these last couple of weeks. A lot of card reveals. We found out a lot of stuff that applies to all 5 nations, and we've got a buttload of new strats for 4 of the 5 nations. Brigade, unfortunately, didn't really get anything spectacular revealed, but all the other nations got all kinds of craziness. First things first, we found out 2 things that apply to all 5 nations. First off, we got the reveal of the card arts for all 5 Overtriggers. Don't ask me their names, because every single one of them is a mouthful. I tried to pronounce some of them and I couldn't. Also, in the trial deck, we are getting the old school PGs, you know, discard a card for a PG. But in the set, every single nation is getting a brand new kind of PG that when you guard with it, the effect says if you have 2 or more cards in hand, you have to discard for the PG effect. So if you're down to the PG and 1 other card, you actually don't have to pay for the PG, and the PG becomes free. That is a new thing that every single nation is getting, and I actually think it's really, really cool to have just another defensive option. I'm always a big fan of defensive options. But now I'm going to talk about some of the new cards that have been revealed and my thoughts on some of them. I'm going to put timestamps down below so you guys can hear about your favorite nations. But we are covering 4 of the 5, so this is going to be a little bit of a longer video. But we're jumping into Dragon Empire first. Now, for Dragon Empire, we've got a mixture of cards from the set and finishing off a couple from the trial deck. So we got Blaze Maiden Ryu. This was the grade 2 that was part of what was supposed to be the ride deck that's in the trial deck. It's a grade 2 normal unit, 10k power, 5k shield, the usual. Its skill is auto. When this unit is rode upon by Nirvana, costs Soul Blast 1, search your deck for Verina. I'll never pronounce that name right. Reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. I think that's cool because obviously it plays off the grade 1. The grade 1 says when you ride Ryu, you actually get to Superior Call Trickstar, and then now when you ride grade 3, you get to add Verina to your hand, so bam, your OverDress is already set. And then it also has the effect that during the battle this unit attacked, it gains 2k. That's kind of meh. Honestly, that's a card I'd probably only run 1 of in the ride deck. Next, we've got a card from set 1, Drag Ritter Arvelis. I wanted to show this card because I actually thought this card was really cool, because this card actually started showing a little bit of my Kagura boys in there. He's a grade 2 normal unit, 10k power, 5k shield. When this unit is placed on a rear guard circle, cost Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards and retire it. I'm a big fan of retire. That's why I played Kagura in the first place. So to see us actually get some pretty good retire, a grade 2 or greater, that's a pretty wide margin. And for a Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, that's decent, especially for set 1. Now, we've also got the order card for Dragon Empire that's coming in the starter deck. It is Sunburst Evolution. It's a grade 2 normal order. Cost Counter Blast 1 to play this card. Choose one of your units and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn, and then you can choose Verina from your drop zone and return it to your hand. I was actually wondering what they were going to do about that, because the whole deck kind of revolves around the OverDress mechanic, but there's only 1 unit with OverDress. So I was wondering how they were going to get it back. And the last big card that they got is actually a grade 3 normal order called Sunlight Punishment. This card excites me and worries me at the same time. This is coming in set 1. Play this card, and if you have more than any number of cards in your damage zone, counterblast as many of them as you want. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards for each counterblast paid for this cost and retire it. So for this 1 card, you can retire 2, you can retire 3. Granted, you're paying a pretty heavy counterblast cost, but to be able to wipe your opponent's entire board with one card is still it gets me my jollies off. Now we're gonna jump over to Dark States. So Dark States was the first nation to get a second set of cards you want to ride. Kind of, I guess you could call it a secondary ride deck. And they actually have a new strategy that differs from Violence Bruce. Violence Bruce and Final Rush was that card and that set of cards. These set of cards are more akin to Dark Irregulars. As we start looking through some of these newer cards, you'll see that they're giving a lot more representation of the older clans into these new nations. If you ask anybody, Violence Bruce and all of those cards definitely are more like Spike Brothers, but these cards are 100% Dark Irregulars, and they actually don't have the Final Rush mechanic. They have a whole new thing for themselves based on the number of cards in your soul. So the first one up is Deep Sonica. This is a grade 1 normal unit, 8k power, 5k shield. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, Soul Charge 1, and then continuous Rearguard Circle during your turn, if your soul has 10 or more cards, this unit gets power plus 10,000. So it becomes an 18,000 booster. Not bad, but when we get into the grade 2, that's where things start to get a little spicy. Electro Spartan. Grade 2 normal unit, 10k power, 5k shield. When this unit is rode upon by Master of Gravity, I'm going to butcher this, Barrow Magnus. Cost, put a card from your hand into the soul, draw a card, and soul charge 1. When this unit is placed on Rearguard, counterblast 1 to soul charge 2. See what I'm saying? Now, Master of Gravity, Barrow Magnus, is the grade 3 of it. He is a grade 3 normal unit, 13k power. He has a Persona Ride symbol. And he has 3 effects based on the number of cards in your soul. When this unit attacks, you counterblast 1 and perform all the following based on the number of cards in your soul. 5 cards in your soul or more, you get to draw a card on his attack. 10 or more, this unit gets 10,000 power plus 1 critical to the end of the battle. 15 or more, both you and your opponent put all of your rear guards into your own soul, and then you get to choose 2 from your soul and call them to rear guard. And they both gain 10,000. That is bonkers. You get to wipe your opponent's entire board. So if you're at 15 cards in soul, you get to, for a counterblast 1 on attack, draw a card, gain 10k in a critical, retire your opponent, well, move him to soul, but get rid of your opponent's entire board, and get 2 extra powered up rear guard attacks. That is amazing. But like I said, that is completely different from the Final Rush mechanic that we have already, looked at for Dark States. This right now, Dark States can split off into 2 fully functional decks, and some of the support is interchangeable between the 2 of them. Like that grade 2, being able to counterblast 1 to soul charge 2 is great for Violence Bruce, and getting those extra cards in soul to be able to use, his multi-attack multiple times. And the last card that they got that I really thought was interesting was their new grade 3 normal order called Crawl You Insects. You play this card for a counterblast 1, soul charge 1, then choose one of your units and it gets 10,000 power for every 5 cards in your soul. If your soul has 10 or more cards, you also get to draw a card. So it replaces itself. If you have 10 cards, that's plus 20 on a rear guard or on your Vanguard. That card, again, screams Dark Irregulars, but that would go great with Violence Bruce. Stack all that power on one unit that you know is going to restand. I think this is wild. Alright, we're going to jump into Keter Sanctuary now. Keter Sanctuary scares the crap out of me. They've got 3 cards worth mentioning, and you'll see why they scare the crap out of me as soon as we talk about them. Now, they also got a kind of new ride deck. And this is more akin to V-Series OTT. Up first, we've got Tier Square Sorceress. Try saying that 5 times fast. Grade 1 normal unit, 8k power, 5k shield. When this unit is rode upon by Pentagleam Sorceress, which is the grade 2, cost, counterblast 1, and draw a card. Already good. Auto rearguard circle once per turn. When your drive check reveals a trigger unit, cost counterblast 1 to choose one of your opponent's front row rearguards and put it to the bottom of the deck. OTT has never had any kind of retire, so that's actually pretty cool. Pentagleam Sorceress. Grade 2, normal unit. 10k power, 5k shield. When this unit is rode upon by Hexa Orb Sorceress, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, put them to the top of your deck in any order. Yep, that's right. Stacking is back. When this unit is placed on rearguard, look at the top card of your deck, put it to the top or bottom of your deck. If you put it on the bottom of your deck, this unit gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So you put it on this. So obviously you check if it's a trigger, put it to the bottom, you get a little bit of extra power. If it is a trigger, you keep it on top. Bam, you know you're getting a trigger. Now, Hexa Orb Sorceress. This is a grade 3 normal unit, 13k power, Persona Ride. When your drive check reveals a trigger unit, choose one of your rear guards, and it gets power plus 10,000 until end of turn. Sorry, this is a Vanguard skill. That's an auto Vanguard skill. So you reveal a trigger, you have to give a unit an extra 10,000 power. So every trigger is worth 20,000 that you can split up. And then act Vanguard Circle once per turn. If you Persona Road this turn, cost Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, reveal one critical trigger or one front trigger from your hand, put it on top of your deck, and this unit gets +1 drive until end of turn. Alright, how do I feel about this card? I think it is ridiculously powerful, but also kind of balanced because of the fact that it's locked behind the Persona Ride mechanic. So you only can run 4 Hexa Orb Sorceresses. Granted, the deck already has some draw power and some search power. Combining it with some of the cards in the trial deck would actually be able to make something kind of nice. And this is just the first of what we're seeing for them for set 1. But being able to get that, if you can get that effect off turn after turn, that is going to be monstrous, especially with front triggers or crits. And every single one of them is giving you an extra 10,000 power on top of the power they already give you. And I like that it gets +1 drive, because that means even though you're getting rid of a card to stack, you're still making up for the card you lost. Now, Stoichecia, they got the most, and they got the most unique set of mechanics. Now, these are not all the cards that have been revealed for them. I just went with the major ones, left a couple out because there were just so many, and I didn't want this video to be, half an hour long. But anybody out there who's a Grand Blue player, you got your representation. Up first, we've got Rancor Chain. It is a grade 1 normal unit, 8k power, 5k shield. Act Vanguard once per turn, cost Soul Blast 1, draw 2 cards, choose one order from your hand and discard it. If you did not discard, you have to choose 2 cards from hand and discard them. So if you have an order, that is a nice +1. If you don't have the order, then it still becomes a 1-for-1, and it fills up your discard, which we'll get into in a little bit. It does have a rearguard skill. If you played an order this turn, this unit gets plus 2,000 power. This is again one of those cards I'd probably just keep in the right deck. Now, Stoichecia got a lot of orders revealed, and we got to talk about them because this whole ride deck that they now have is all based around your orders, as opposed to the multi-attack that we've already seen from them. We've got Spiritual Body Condensation. This is a grade 1 normal order. Play this card with a cost of a Soul Blast 1. Choose a card with a grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from your drop and call it to rearguard. And it gets 5,000 power to end of turn. This is what I was mentioning about discarding cards. There's actually the ability to bring cards back from the discard now. So you can actually set up your discard to be able to play cards from it later. And that's just a grade 1. Now, grade 2, Black Tier Husk Dragon. Grade 2 normal unit, 10k power, 5k shield. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, choose one normal order from your drop and put it back into your hand. So that one that you discarded on the grade 1 to draw 2, you now get it back. So now you just gained another plus. Or if you had to use one, you now get it back again. And now it also has the rearguard power. If you played an order this turn, this unit gets 5,000 power. 5,000 is much more significant than 2,000. So this one might actually squeeze into there. Now, this next card is actually the order from the trial deck, but there's a reason I wanted to mention it again. So this is their grade 2 Blitz order. It's a Blitz order. This is why I'm talking about it. It's called Call to the Beasts. For anybody that doesn't know, there's reminder text on the card. A Blitz order is an order instead of played during your main phase, like the rest of your orders, it is played during the guard step of your opponent's turn. So it's played when your opponent is attacking you, when you're supposed to be deciding your guards. So you choose one of your units and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of the battle. But if you have 3 or more back row rear guards, it gets power plus 15,000 instead of plus 5. I'm all about defensive options, and the fact that they've created a defensive order for a clan that is going to be spamming out rear guards already, I think is genius. And there's ways to recycle it. Now, this grade 3 is bonkers. Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga. Grade 3 normal unit, 13k power, Persona Rider. Continuous Vanguard Circle. When you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different card name from your draw. And activate Alchemagic. Alchemagic is a new mechanic specific to this card. What it does is, when the order that you bind, when you play an order, you bind another one from your draw. You combine their costs, and you get to use both of the effects. So, for example, well, I'll wait till the next card. And then, that is continuous. That's when you would play, that just happens whenever you play an order. It's not once per turn. It is literally just, did you play an order? Cool, you can do this too, if you can pay the costs. And then act Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, cost Counterblast 1, choose a card from your drop zone, call it to rearguard. Yeah. Now, we've got 2 more orders for them. They're both grade 3 orders, and they're ridiculously powerful. And that's why I think this mechanic is silly. First, we've got Grief, Despair, and Rejection. That is a hell of a name. It's a grade 3 normal order. You play this card with the Counterblast 1. If your Vanguard is Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga, choose 3 of your units and they get power plus 10,000 until end of turn. Sorry. So, let's go back to Zorga real quick. Because of his Alchemagic, just this one and the other normal unit that we had, the grade 1. Say you play the grade 1, the grade 1 normal order. It's a Soul Blast 1. Cool, you get to choose a unit grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from your drop and call it to rearguard, and it gains 5,000 power. Now, when you play that, say you have Grief, Despair, and Rejection in your drop, you bind that, pay a counterblast, and now you get to use them back to back. So you can bring out the unit, give it 5,000 power, and then choose 3 units and give them 10,000 power. Bonkers. And that's for a Counterblast 1 and a Soul Blast 1, and using 1 card from your hand. And the last card that I want to talk about is another grade 3 normal order called the Cursed Soul Wriggles in Agony. It's a weird name. But you have to play this card with the cost of a Soul Blast 2. You'll get 4 cards on the top of your deck, choose up to 1 unit from among them, call it to rearguard, and then you discard the rest. But if this is being played with Alchemagic, you get to call 2 cards to the rearguard instead of 1. And all units called with this order gain 5,000 power. So, this card is already a 1-for-1. You play it, you get to get 1 you rearguard off the top 4. If you use Grief, Despair, and Rejection to give 3 units 10k, and say you only have your Vanguard, you can also use Alchemagic off of Zorga to use Wriggles in Agony for a Soul Blast 2. And you know how it is in Vanguard when 2 cards are activated at the same time, you get to choose the order they resolve. So now you get to call 2 dudes off the top with plus 5k, and now give 3 units plus 10k. It's crazy. So, that is the last card we're going to talk about. Like I said, there were a couple other cards but they just really weren't worth mentioning. These were the big ones. And how do I feel about all of them? Well, first off, I think that Bushi is doing a very interesting job of opening the door to creative deck building. I like the idea of being able to mix a couple strategies so you can find the mix that works best for you. I like the fact that, they've already come out with 2 different ride decks for 3 of the nations with whole different strategies, whereas some of the support still helps the first set of cards that we've already seen from the trial decks. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a wild ride, and this is just something else that I'm excited for Cardfight Vanguard. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys have any ideas or anything you want to hear about from the cards that we were already seen, please let me know. If you guys enjoy these videos, let me know. I'm going to try to get my buddy Brett to come bounce ideas off me again next time we talk about OverDress. But if you guys want to check me out on social media, links to those will be down below. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Twitch, and I'm on TikTok. That's it for me, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning.